Former Chargers wide receiver Vincent Jackson found dead in a hotel. What we know about the days leading up to his death and the investigation now underway. Plus, 7 new variants of COVID-19 found here in the U.S. The worrisome trait researchers say they all share. And
we just think it's a great way of recognizing people that are taking that effort.
in a story that is positively San Diego, we'll show you the unique incentive a retired doctor is offering for San Diegans who get the COVID-19 vaccine.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
And we continue to monitor that breaking news at Hamul. Deputies are still trying to persuade a gunman out of a home on Lyons Valley Road of the Hamul Community Church. They say that the gunman barricaded himself after shooting a man in the chest. The victim was rushed to the hospital. We understand they put in 2 flashbangs so far. Lyons Valley Road is closed in that area. We will continue to watch the situation and we'll update you as that situation progresses. In the meantime, there is growing concern after researchers discovered 7 new highly contagious variants of COVID-19 across the U.S. Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner explains what this could mean for the vaccine rollout already underway.
This local infectious disease physician added that San Diego has a robust sequencing capability. Across the county, researchers are collecting the virus from patients and sequencing them to see what variants they may have. A team of scientists are declaring that a total of 7 coronavirus variants spotted around the United States are carrying the same mutation, as reported in a study published over the weekend.
These variants tell us that the virus is adapting to us.
Dr. Davey Smith is the chief of infectious diseases and global public health at UC San Diego. He spoke to ABC 10 News Monday about the evolution of variants.
So the virus evolves every day that it's growing. It develops mutations, and some of those mutations are beneficial to the virus. And if they're beneficial to the virus in terms of being able to spread, then those mutations stay. And that's why we call them variants.
In the new study that has yet to be peer-reviewed, it's been revealed that the mutation is in a gene that influences how the virus gets into the host cells, leading researchers to worry about whether the mutation causes the variants to be more transmissible. All of this as the contagious UK and South African variants remain of serious concern. Still, little is known about the mutations in the US variants, since genomes have reportedly been sequenced from less than 1% of all COVID samples.
People should get their vaccine as soon as they're offered it. That's one way to curb the evolution of the virus in general. So the more of us that get vaccinated as soon as possible, the less the virus is able to grow within the human population and therefore less likely to evolve.
Dr. Smith added that it may be that we have to get the COVID vaccine shots every year like we do with the flu shots because the flu virus continues to evolve. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
And here are the latest numbers for San Diego County. 693 new cases were reported today. That brings our total to just under 253,000. And no new deaths were reported today. That's typical for a Monday, so that number remains at 3,037 for now.
As of yesterday, more than 492,000 people in San Diego County have been vaccinated for COVID-19, and more than 127,000 people have been fully vaccinated, meaning they have received both shots. And getting more African Americans vaccinated for COVID-19. That is the goal of the San Diego Black Nurses Association. They're partnering with local churches to combat a long list of obstacles that are keeping people from getting shots. ABC 10 News anchor Lindsay Pena has more.
Getting as many people vaccinated for COVID-19 as possible has been a challenge, but especially so in the Black community.
There are a lot of barriers in terms of finances, transportation, sometimes even literacy. Also things like working with technology, which is required to make an appointment.
Samantha Williams is with the San Diego Black Nurses Association. She says, in addition to those issues, there's also a lack of trust.
I know a lot of people focus on the Tuskegee experiment and Henrietta Lacks. However, historically, there have been an innumerable amount of medical injustices towards the African American community,
which is translated into a major disparity in terms of vaccination rates.
We know that white Americans are at about 50%, with African Americans at just over 2%, and our Hispanic community is around 16%. And this is all per 1,000 residents.
Lord, I thank you.
To change that, the Black Nurses Association is now partnering with local churches to host vaccination events.
The African American culture is often based on religion and being in these churches. And even those people who aren't necessarily very religious have a trust and respect for the church.
Dr. Robert Gillespie is the medical director of the Black Nurses Association and a member of Bethel AME, one of the first churches to host an event. They're hoping it's the beginning of a partnership that creates real change.
Hallelujah.
Just knowing that someone who looks like you is providing this service does make a difference.
That was Lindsay Pena reporting. The Black Nurses Association goal is to eventually host about 2 events a week, and they recommend reaching out to your local church to see if it's participating. The operators of the Petco Park Vaccination Superstation hope to reopen Wednesday. The site had to shut down Friday after a shipment of vaccine doses from Moderna failed to arrive. We took an ABC 10 News viewer's question about the future of the site to city officials, and they told us that Petco has to close down by April 1st for baseball season. Mayor Todd Gloria tells us it's possible they could replace it.
If we need to make another city-owned property like Tailgate Park available, we'll do it. I think there are some lessons learned from Petco Park that we certainly would replicate. Partnering with a world-class organization like the San Diego Padres has been extremely beneficial. They know how to put on big events.
Gloria says he hopes there will be a variety of big and small sites available for San Diegans to get the vaccine. And we know there are a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. Our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. Just send us an email at tips@10news.com. And you can follow any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
We have some breaking news from the NFL. Former San Diego Charger wide receiver Vincent Jackson was found dead today in a hotel room near Tampa, Florida. Our ABC 10 News sports director Ben Higgins is joining us live with more on the investigation tonight. Ben.
What we do know, Steve, is that police checked up on Vincent Jackson on Friday in the same hotel room where he was found dead today. His family filed a missing persons report last week, and police determined he had been staying at the Homewood Suites in Brandon, Florida for the past month, but closed that investigation after assessing his well-being. Now, Jackson's death comes a little over 5 years after his last appearance in the NFL. He was originally drafted in the second round by the Chargers in 2005, spending 7 seasons in San Diego before signing as a free agent with the Tampa Bay Bucks in 2012. Jackson's success on the field, where he was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection, allowed him to give back to the community. As the son of 2 parents in the armed forces, he formed the Jackson in Action 83 Foundation to assist military families. It was that work that led him to be nominated 4 times for the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year award. The Bucks and Chargers both issued statements about the shock and sadness inside the 2 organizations. Jackson did have a pair of DUI arrests during his time with the Chargers, but people who knew him, including former opponent and San Diego State football star Kirk Morrison, are remembering a fun and generous person.
Life of the party off the field, but definitely a guy who was always just, willing to give the shirt off his back for someone. Definitely gonna miss that dude, man. He was a joy to be around.
I've been seeing many former teammates posting positive messages about Jackson on Twitter. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department says it has opened an investigation into his death. I'm Ben Higgins, ABC 10 News.
Very sad news there. Thank you, Ben. And now to a follow-up. The family of a missing Chula Vista mother is heading back to San Diego after another disappointing weekend of searching. Maya Miliete's family spent the last 3 days searching the sand dunes in Glamis. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco spoke with her family about why they thought the remote area of Imperial County was worth a look.
High above the desert in Imperial County, more than 40 miles of sand dunes make up the area known as Glamis. It's a popular spot for campers and ATV riders. This weekend, the remote area was the focus of the intense search for Maya May Miliete.
It just felt like I'm like a little grain in the sand. I mean, sand is huge, and feel like hopeless.
Mary Chris Druye is Maya's sister. She and her husband and other relatives have spent every day searching for the Chula Vista mom of 3 since she disappeared 5 weeks ago.
We just want to keep on searching and searching, and we don't want any stones unturned. So it's one of those, it's a shooting in the star kind of thing.
The last time she saw her sister was here at the sand dunes over the New Year holiday. The family often went camping together. Mary Chris says Maya and her husband had been having marital problems.
Every day that goes by, it's very agony that we don't have answers, that we don't have a lead.
Police say Maya was last seen by her husband Larry January 7th at their home in Chula Vista. Police recently served a search warrant at the house, but there was no word on whether any evidence was found. Larry Miliete has hired an attorney, and police say he has stopped talking with investigators.
Detectives are still in the same place, that we were in a month and a half ago, and that's the scariest part. That we don't know what's going to happen. We don't want this case to become a cold case.
The family hired a private investigator. Police will only say they are actively investigating. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
And the family says they'll coordinate with volunteers this week to decide where to search next. And support is growing for the family of a father and son that were killed in a crash outside the Poway High School. Steve and Stephen Piroli were leaving baseball practice around 7 o'clock Friday night. Police say they were turning left onto Espola Road when a 19-year-old driver T-boned their car, killing both the father and son. Now blue cups are placed in a fence outside the high school to honor the two. Candles and photos have also popped up across the street. A doorbell camera captured the moment a 13-year-old driver lost control of an SUV and killed 2 men in Escondido. This was near Mission Avenue in North Ash. It happened Friday night. Police said the teenage girl and her friend took her mom's car without permission. Officers found the 2 girls and tried to stop them, but they sped off. And that's when they say the girls lost control of the SUV and ran off the road into bushes. Sadly, there were 2 men sleeping in those bushes. One died at the scene, the other died after being taken to the hospital. The girls were arrested and released to their parents.
So unnecessary. Wow. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that Congress will hold a 9/11 type commission to investigate the January 6th Capitol insurrection. 5 people died during that riot and more than 140 officers were injured. The insurrection interrupted the counting of the Electoral College as a mob of President Trump supporters seized the Capitol building. Pelosi's announcement comes just 2 days after Trump's acquittal. ABC's Mary Alice Parks has more on the fallout.
President Trump celebrating this President's Day, waving to supporters near his home in Florida 2 days after his acquittal in his second impeachment trial. Though they fell short of the 2/3 threshold needed to convict, Democrats say they have no regrets. In the end, 57 senators found Trump guilty, including 7 Republicans. And Democrats argued most Republicans were always going to stand with him.
Even if we had the president say on the record that I sent them there to destroy the democracy for my own gain, some of them would still not have voted to convict him.
The former president could still face legal problems.
There are charges that may be brought by the District of Columbia for the insurrection of the riot.
Republican leader Mitch McConnell almost inviting prosecution.
Didn't get away with anything yet. We have a criminal justice system in this country.
McConnell this weekend blamed Trump for the violence on January 6th, but voted not guilty. He cited a constitutional debate about convicting a former president, though McConnell had held the gavel while Trump was still in office. President Biden, in a statement, pointed to McConnell's own words, adding, "While the final vote did not lead to a conviction, the substance of the charge is not in dispute."
Now, as far as next steps, Speaker Pelosi announced Monday that Congress will move towards establishing an outside, independent 9/11-style commission to investigate the domestic terrorist attacks on the United States Capitol on January 6th. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, Washington.